is, what was, so 1400 years of the Ummah of the Prophet ﷺ, and we don't have any prophets, and everybody understands there's going to be no more prophets. Come, brother Imtiaz, Allah except from you. So there are going to be no prophet, and then we run through hoops, mental gymnastics to make that there is going to be one prophet. And what is the accomplishment of that prophet? What did this man accomplish? What is it that he did for the people of India, Pakistan, throughout the world? Did he defeat the colonials? Did he unite the Ummah? He divided the Ummah because there are people now who are Qadyanis. Did he, I don't know, brought something that was like unknown outside of the fact that he brought the fact that one of the Qadyanis responded in the group?
He brought a lot of
division.
Not even division. Evil. I mean, for him to praise one of the greatest evils in human history, colonial rule. Okay,
right.
And we're not talking about Britain today. Britain today is not a colonial power. Okay, in fact, Britain today is very ashamed of its colonial past. So ashamed that they don't want to teach about it. Okay. And people have written books, scholars, politicians, human rights activists. They have repeatedly condemned the colonial past of the British Empire. Okay, because it was a very, very devastating force, as I mentioned earlier. So apart from not only that he didn't achieve anything, he was out to harm humanity. If he's praising the greatest oppressor on the planet as the greatest blessing of God, what is left? It's like Jesus. It's like Jesus turning around to his followers and saying, Rome is the greatest blessing of Allah. Guys, yeah, Rome. I mean, and some Christians try to play that game. When Jesus said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, render unto God what is God's. Even in this statement, Jesus was very careful if he ever said this. A big if, right? Okay. He is not praising Rome. Rome was a pagan, oppressive power, right? Okay. Imagine Jesus saying, or imagine Moses. Imagine Moses saying that Pharaoh is the greatest blessing of Allah. His establishment, the house of Pharaoh. Okay. Here you have Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadyani. Instead of confronting the Pharaoh of the time, the British colonial rule, what does he do? He endorses it, he works for it, he praises it, and he tells his followers to be obedient servants of it. Now, we're not, again, this is a very important separation we have to make. Britain today is not a colonial power anymore. It is an influential country, okay? No doubt, it's a very powerful country, but it's not a colonial power anymore. In fact, today, Britain is against colonialism today, right? So we're not talking about Britain. Right. What they do, the game they play is they're very clever, these missionaries. When you mention Britain colonial rule, they jump straight to Britain today. Oh, you are talking about Britain today. You're talking about the British, and you're living in Britain. You're living in London. Do you not have any shame? And then we tell them, do you not have any brain? Don't you know what we're talking about? We're talking about once upon a time British colonial rule in India that killed millions of people. And it's not the mullahs saying this. It is not our imams and our maulanas or maulvis are saying this. It is Western academics. Yeah, it's Western academics. They are writing that. I mean, I posted an article recently on my Twitter from Al Jazeera that between 1880 and 1920, the British colonial rule killed 100 million people in India. Not directly killing them by blowing them up by guns, but they killed them by economic policies. Starving them to death. Farmers died in hundreds of millions. 100 million people at least. That's the number. I don't know how accurate that number is, but it has been quoted by Western academics. Okay, how can you say this power or this rule at this time was the greatest blessing of God? This alone is enough to undo this so-called prophet. But unfortunately,
and that's a very good point, because the association they build with Isa alayhi salam and him being the
breaking the cross.
is that,
breaking the cross.
But
okay. Yeah.
Azib, and he's a prophet of Allah. Isa alayhi salam spoke against the oppressive power of Rome.
Listen,
and
listen.
he's
He
here
what
outlining
cross when you ask them what cross did he break, and they refer to his tiny weeny little humble debates with Christian missionaries here and there and his few writings, right? But we ask them who did more work, Sheikh Ahmad Didat in the 20th century, okay, or Mirza Ghulam Qadyani. If it's about breaking the cross by debating Christians, then Sheikh Ahmad Didat qualifies to be more of a prophet than Mirza Ghulam Qadyani. He was more of a Jesus, I mean, Masih Maud, if you want to claim that, then Mirza didn't do anything like that. He
And
was
more people
indoor.
know Sheikh Dida than Mirza. Many people haven't heard of Mirza before our
Yeah,
stream,
exactly.
They're saying, who is
Exactly.
this
Yes.
guy? Like, where did he come from?
Yeah, yeah.
Ashim, one very quick comment because it's
Yeah.
relevant to what you just mentioned. And Adnan, why please, inshallah, you should reconsider your position on this one, and it's okay because there is there's a common perception, and some people do buy this perception. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad was debating the Christian missionaries, and somehow it became the very beloved of the ulama. My brothers, in the next stream, just ask a simple question to any of the Ahmadis in his entire career: how many debates Mirza did? There was one particular debate with the Christians. There was an official one big debate with Abdullah Atham. Okay, and the result I have announced you already. And brother Tahir was
Apostasies.
wait a minute, brother Tahir was trying to say this thing. Oh, some of the fusaq, this and that. Brother, there were five because Mirza declared this as Jange Muqaddas, the holy war. Okay, there's a book called Jange Muqaddas on this topic. And now Mirza initially sent five people because this was Jange Muqaddas. Okay, so Mirza was leading the empire of Ahmadiyya. He sent five ambassadors, okay, to go and negotiate the terms with the Christians. Guess what? One of those five ambassadors, which Tahir was today saying, they were the Fusaq. He was the ambassador from the five chosen people, Yusuf Pathan. And guess what? He became Christian after this debate. And guess what? Mirza's cousin became Christian after debate. And guess what? The place from where the people came for this debate, Jandiala, the people from Jandiala, many of them, they become Christian. And guess what? Then Mirza said, okay, no problem. After such and such month, Abdullah Atham will die. And guess what? He did not die. And let me say something very interesting. On the last day of the deadline, when Abdullah Atham was supposed to die, it is from the books of, by the way, Jamaat, okay? In Qadian, there was like as though as if some death has happened. People were crying. Oh, Ya Allah, Abdullah Atham should die. Ya Allah, Abdullah Atham should die. And guess what? Mirza Sahib did some amaliyat, some magic thing, inshallah I will quote them later. And all of that happened, and that night was passed. Abdullah Atham did not die. And next morning, the Christians, they were humiliating Mirza Ghulam Ahmad Qadyani in the many cities of India. Okay, there were large proceedings, celebrations. They especially brought the elephant to celebrate, and Abdullah Atham was placed on that elephant as a ride, and they celebrated their victory. This is I'm telling you the result of one official debate Mirza did with the Christians. So please, my brother, anybody who is listening to this, ask Ahmadis in entire prophetic career, in the entire messiahship career, how many debates Mirza did. Ask them, inshallah. I know the answer, but I want them to tell you that how many debates he did. This is a very, very, you can say, people have bought this deception, unfortunately. There is no
Misconception.
such thing. And let me tell you this one thing, inshallah. Brothers, I have read the books of Ghulam Ahmad. I want Ahmadis to tell me, inshallah, alhamdulillah, brothers, the way, alhamdulillah, I have studied Ahmadis, in the same way I have studied Christianity as well. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Now listen, my dear brothers. The point is this. I want to hear that one argument which Mirza produced, and that was so mind-boggling to destroy the Christianity. There's no such thing. I have read Brahine Ahmadiyya 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the part. There's no such thing. It is all a deception, and some of our ulama, for example, Dr. Israr Ahmad, when they make these comments, Dr. Saab, may Allah have mercy on his grave, he was a very good person. He served in his own capacity to the cause of Islam, but he was a human being. When he was saying all of that, I'm 100% sure he did not read Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. Reading Mirza Ghulam Ahmad is not an easy job. I'm telling you, it's not an easy job, because it's very difficult, because he repeats things so many times. Inshallah, one of my research is that in the entire 23 volume, how many topics actually he discussed. This is one of my research. Why? Because they are actually handful of topics. He keeps repeating them, keeps repeating them, keeps repeating them. This is how we have the 23 volume of Mirza's book. So, brothers,
I think he found copy paste before Microsoft.
so, brothers, please, all of this is either the misunderstanding of our ulama or the deception of Ahmadiyya. I have clearly on the public platform, I have told you the result of one of his main official debate with the Christian. Look at this.